Hello, my name is Hannah Hurdle. I'm the Library eLearning Specialist at Ottenheimer Library, and today I'm here to talk to you about learning tools you can use in both your in-person and online classes. Learning tools provide students with multiple ways to engage with course content, express their learning, and access content. It also promotes universal design for learning. The first learning tool I'm going to cover is Google Jamboard. Jamboard is included as one of the tools in the Google Suite. The library currently uses Jamboard as a group activity for students during our library instruction classes, since it is an easy way for students to collaborate. You can check out last week's video to learn more about how the library uses Jamboard as flip content in our library instruction classes. So these are all of the Jamboards the library has created for our library instruction classes, as well as our RISE workshops. You can access this just by going to log into your URL or email. I'm going to go to Module 3, Alternative Fact Checking through Lateral Reading. This is the first slide where it just asks for team members' names, their group number if we have groups, the day and the time of the class, and the instructor's name. Gives you a little description about like what being a fact checker is. Then we have the first part, so just telling them the article. They're going to go to that article and look at it, access that link. And then they're going to, is this article for or against police being required to hold a 4-year degree? Explain your answer. So it's asking them a question about the article to make sure that they have at least skimmed it. As who the author of the article is, consider if they're professional in their field, why or why not. Part 2, what Vice says about themselves. So it's broken into one looking at the article, then it's going to see what Vice says about themselves. You're going to go to the Us section. What's this organization's mission? What does it say about itself? Then we're going to go to what do others say about Vice. They're going to find 3 articles about Vice. What is the source website? And what do they say about the organization / original source, which would be Vice, include the name of the article. Again, they're doing that again for the second resource, then the third. And part 5, what do you say about Vice? So based on what you've read, do you think the organization is credible or the publication? Explain their answer, rate on a scale of 1 to 5. So that's the breakdown of this Jamboard, and students could work on it together. They can add sticky notes with various things. They could change the color of the sticky note. They can upload an image if they would like. For whatever reason that they would need to. They could add a shape. You can change up the shape. You can add a text box. When they're presenting, if we had them present, we don't for this class, but for other ones, they could use that little laser pointer. There's the select tool. They can erase things. So if they draw something, they can erase it. So it's just different things that you can do on the Jamboard. They could change the background. So this, say a student, you're having a student create their own presentation in Jamboard. They could create the background, set it up, add an image, add slides. You can rearrange your slides. So this is something that you could have set up for students to use, or students could use it in a class for creating their own presentation. So for courses, faculty could use Jamboard for group activities between students, or even just for an interactive presentation during class. And like I mentioned, include questions on the Jamboard. Students could respond to those by adding sticky notes or typing into a text box. So now I'm going to move on to Mentimeter. Mentimeter is an interactive presentation software, but you can also use it as an interactive way to include polls in your class presentations, which is what we do for our library instruction classes and our RISE workshops. The library currently uses Mentimeter polls as a way of assessment, but also to make the presentation portion of the class more interactive and engaging. So there is a free version. The library has a paid version, but there's different like versions that you can have. In the free version, you can create 2 slides for each presentation. So we have some for our ROS workshops and we have some for our library instruction classes. I'm going to go to module 2. And so we have for both of our instruction classes. So module 2, methods for approaching research. We have our question, what do you think? What do you think about keywords now? Do you practice using them? And we have our different options. I added GIFs. I could edit it or remove it. So I could add an image or change up the GIF. I can add more questions. So this is what a current poll looks like. In order for have a code, you just go to menti.com. Students would put in that code, and I have to make sure that I'm presenting in order for that presentation code to work. So let me go back to my presentations. I'm going to do just an example presentation so you can see how you can create different kinds of Mentimeter polls. So you can choose, the one that I had was the multiple choice, but you could do a word cloud, an open-ended, question answer, ranking, scales. You can do a quiz competition. You can do content slides. So you could do a video, a quote, bullets, and there's also advanced questions. So the 100 points, who will win, pin an image. So you have a bunch of different things that you can do, but specifically for quizzes, I'll show you. I'm just going to do multiple choice. This is what we do. You can add so it looks like, and then you type in what have you. You can make the presentation with different, so you can do bars, the donut, the pie, or dots. You can show correct answers if you want. You can show a percentage, or let participants choose multiple options. You can customize the way that it looks. If you want, you can also change the themes. So you can switch up the way that the presentation looks. You can also look at some examples if you would like. You can add presenter notes. You can add more slides if you would like. You can import slides. If you want up here to share, you can copy and paste the link to share other places if you would like, or you can download a QR code. You can embed the live results. So you have a bunch of different options of things that you can do with Mentimeter. So for their courses, faculty can use Mentimeter to make the presentation portion of a class more interactive and to gauge student learning. Another option would be to have polls to gain some assessment during class. You can also, because I haven't used this, let me see if I can go back. You can download I don't think it has it, but if I had shared this with a class, I can download the results as an Excel file. So you have that assessment that you can save. So lastly, I'm going to show you ThingLink. ThingLink is a tool you can use in your courses to create unique interactive experiences. For library instruction classes, we use ThingLink to create interactive content, including a walk through the library's quick search, tips on how to evaluate online sources, walkthroughs of different databases like Canopy, and more. You can use ThingLink to create interactive tours through photos, add text tags to photos, link to online content, and more. However, ThingLink allows you to link to more than just photos. You can create ThingLinks with videos, infographics, presentations, floor plans, 360 video, and more. Today, we are just going to focus on images. So you can see that I've uploaded a ton of photos into ThingLink to create my ThingLink. And there's a great example in Blackboard under the Universal Design for Learning video of a ThingLink that I created. And you can just go in here, and this is where you can pick what kind of thing link you want to create. If I'm doing image, I would just drag and drop my images, and then they would appear here. So I'm going to go to one that I've made. So I have this ThingLink that I made. And you can do a bunch of different things with ThingLink. So if I go up to edit, I'm going to go to, actually, I'm going to click on this. So this one is a, let's do that. So you can add text and media, add a text label, add content from a website, create a tour, and then create a poll is actually new. So for example, this one, join me on an interactive tour of our single all-in-one search. That's what the add a text label looks like. This is another text label. This one is add text and media. So you can add content from the web. You can change the icon. You can change the icon's color. You can embed a code or put a URL. So that's what this is, because it's going to take you to the library's website. So that's an example of add content from website. You can do add text and media. You can change the layout of what it looks like. So say you can add a photo, an image or a video, and you can change the way that looks. Again, you can change the icon. You can add a title, a description, a URL button. So it's very, these two are add text and media and add content from website are very similar. The other option is create a tour, which is what this little magnifying glass is. You add a scene, you add text telling what that's going to do. So for example, I click on this. You can see that I've added a picture, click to explore the search. So I'm going to done. So now I can actually do that tour. So this is just linking images together so that you can tour through them. So I have some more examples of the different types of tags. So I can go back. We gave the option to go back. So in case a student didn't click on one of these options, feel like they missed something. School resources and date limiters. And so these different little icons mean different things. So this is taking them to an outside source. So yeah, that is the ThingLink. And actually, let me do an edit again because I didn't show you the poll. Add tag, you create a poll. You would add a question. Have you used the library search for? Yes. No. Well, you get that inner one up. And so they could just click on that. Well, let me get out of this so you can actually, and then they can see the results. So that's new. So that's a cool feature that was added recently. You have different settings. So you can change up the color scheme, disable animation. So the type of pulsing animation that you see on some of them, like that. Make all pop-ups in this thing larger, so it takes up like the full window. You can upload audio. So you have a bunch of different options. If you come up here, you can change privacy settings. So make it only available for your organization, make it public, unlisted, or private. You can rename the ThingLink. You can move it to a folder, which you do have to have a paid account in order to do the folders. You can look at statistics. So you can see when it was viewed, how many have embedded it, how many views it has, open tags, tag clicks, open rate. So there's a bunch of different statistics that you can look at. So these are the tags that were viewed, these things that were embedded and when. So some of these features you can only use with a paid account, but you can look at the statistics regardless. You can download it, you can share it as an embed code, a permalink, or publish to social media. So for their courses, faculty use ThingLink as flip content, which is what the library does. You can check out last week's video to learn more about how the library uses ThingLink as flip content in our library instruction classes. Another option would be to make certain parts of the class more interactive. If there's a concept you want students to explore more in depth, you can create a ThingLink to help students explore it further. This could be an infographic, a series of photos, etc. It could also be used in assessment, where students have to use images to link concepts or ideas together. Or it could even be an activity for students to show their learning. So learning tools like Jamboard, Mentimeter, or ThingLink have so much to offer faculty, students, and course instruction. They can be used to enhance learning in your courses by creating ways for students to interact and engage with class content in new and interesting ways. Moreover, not only do these learning tools work for online courses, but they can be switched over to in-person courses with ease. If you would like more assistance with finding new learning tools for your courses, or would like more information on the ones mentioned in this video, please reach out to me at hfhurdle@ualar.edu or one of the other librarians in Student Success Ottenheimer Library. Thank you.